Strategies to acquire businesses with no money out of pocket. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm here to introduce you to the host of the Futurist Mindset Show. Our host is Reagan Rodriguez. He's a futurist who teaches stratosphere wealthy legacy families how to become impact investors. Hi, Reagan. How are you today?
I am doing better than I deserve. How about yourself?
Very good. I'm enjoying this Florida weather, honestly. So
Yeah,
very
it's
nice.
James Harrington who spoke, you remember, with the Ugandan Water Project. Well,
Yes.
he's actually based out of New York. So he came to Miami, and as soon as he arrived at the hotel, they said, "We're really sorry for this cold weather." And he's like, "You kidding? It was 25 degrees before I left." So he
Wow.
thinks it's nice. I know you're on the other coast. You're in Southwest, and I'm in Southeast Florida. What are you guys at? I'm looking here. My temperature right now says 70. Is that about what you
Yeah,
guys are at?
yeah, we're right about that too, I think. Yes. Yeah. I don't know that it's that much different, but now when you're talking, I will let you know what the actual temperature is, but I think that's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's
So
beautiful.
on this, what I want to go over is I got together with James today for lunch, and we were talking about strategies of these seller financing. I don't like to use that whole zero down, just because it's not realistic. Okay, it's kind of bait and switch, right? Or you see it on YouTube and you're like, oh, zero down. Well, technically, you're going to have to put something down. Okay. The minimum could be $1, it could be 10. So I just don't like that concept of zero
It feels
down.
a
I
little
know it
gimmicky.
gets people's, what was that, Tess?
It feels a little gimmicky, I think,
It
typically.
does. It
Yeah.
does. So can you do seller financing and negotiate? Can you have maybe an expertise in an area? Like we talked about once before, a restaurant or a doggy daycare that maybe doesn't have a website. So you could help improve that website because that's your expertise. You could help maybe drive traffic to the site because that's your expertise. So James wanted to kind of pick my brain, and I said, gosh, especially since this is about providing clean water in underdeveloped countries and other projects that they do, I said, I'll give you my time and I'll answer any and all questions. So let me kind of get started, and
Yes.
then you can kind of, if there's any questions, you can ask them. So what I want to provide is a straightforward, no nonsense, maybe a guide to acquire businesses, without any upfront capital. Again, let me give you a condensed version. And if you're taking notes, I'm going to go over 7 points. First
Okay.
one is shift your mindset. Realize that acquiring a business can be more achievable and less risky than starting one, right? Focus on creating value, not just spending money on the business. Number two, understand the types. Learn about asset deals, share deals, mergers, and earnouts. These structures can minimize that initial investment. Number three, find the right target. So seek small to medium sized businesses with motivated sellers. Look for owners that are ready to exit or retirement or life changes. Number four, master financial leverage. Use creative structures like seller financing, deferred payments, or external investors to fund acquisitions. Number five, build your network. My friend Fabiola is good at this. Surround yourself around advisors, mentors, right? Relationships uncover opportunities, what I've noticed. And again, my friend Fabiola is very good at this. She does this in LA. Number six, de-risk the process. What does that mean? Conduct proper due diligence to understand the business's financials, their operations, also their liabilities. What you want to do here, Tessa, is you want to avoid any hidden surprises. And then the last one, number seven, think long term. Focus on integrating and optimizing that acquired business. Aim for sustainable growth and then additional deals maybe in the future. What I want you to get out of this is I'm emphasizing that with the right knowledge and strategies, basically anyone can enter that world of merger and acquisitions without needing any kind of personal capital. Now, there is a second way of doing this. And I was talking to James about this with the Ugandan Water Project about this today when we were having lunch. And I said to James that the other way to do it, I like to refer to as buy, build, and sell. So the 7 points I went over just now was more of a guide to acquire businesses without capital. Now what I want to do is go over 3 points, and those 3 points are buy, build, and sell. Okay, it's that simple. This is more of a straightforward guide to creating wealth through business acquisitions, through improvement, and then selling that business. So let me break that process down. And again, just 3 key phases here. Number 1, buy. Look for a business with potential. Target companies that are underperforming but have solid foundations. In other words, such as a repeatable revenue streams or maybe loyal customer base or an established brand. Number 2, build. Okay? Improve the operations profitability. So what you want to do is you want to focus on areas like systemizing processes to reduce from the owner, right? Reliance on the owner. Another strategy would be expanding sales through better marketing strategies. Another option might be cutting unnecessary costs while increasing the efficiency. The goal here is to enhance the business value. That's why it's under the build. Third category, sell. Once the business is optimized, now you'll want to sell it for higher multiples. Timing is critical. Sell when the business is thriving and the demand is high. Okay, so if you see, Tessa, on this example, I'm emphasizing the importance of treating businesses like investments, not emotional commitments. And if you hire me as your advisor, I am going to give you actionable advice. I'm going to give you frameworks around it. And then I'm also going to give you real life examples that have helped other entrepreneurs replicate this, may I say, success formula.
Very good. I know
It's
there's
a practical guide. Yeah.
It's a
And it's
lot
a practical guide. Yeah. I want to do it through, let me go over the third one, okay? Which is the one everyone asks me about. Zero down, right? Can you buy a business at zero down? Look, I know that there are things on YouTube or who knows what you saw. Let's remember this, guys. Focus on strategy to acquire that business, or maybe other assets with little or no money out of pocket. So you do want to find actionable insights on creative financing, or maybe on deal structuring, or leveraging resources to maybe minimize the capital. I know I just said a lot of things, and you're like, what did he just say? Okay, let me concise this for you. I'm going to say there's really 5, maybe 6 core ideas. Is it 5 or 6? I think it's 6. Creative financing. Learn to structure the deal using seller financing. That's how you'd be able to do it at zero down. Or maybe through earnouts or equity shares, where you leverage the value of the business or property itself to fund the acquisition. Number 2, strategic partners. This is something that Fabiola is very good at doing. She builds alliances with investors, with lenders, or experts that can contribute capital, or maybe they contribute skills, or maybe there is a certain resource in exchange for equity to share the profits. The third will be win-win negotiations. James and I, we we talked about this quite a bit today during lunch. Focus on identifying and solving that seller's key pain points in
Mm.
order to craft mutually beneficial terms. The fourth one would be leveraging existing assets. Utilize the target's cash flow, assets, or customer base to fund the acquisition or generate post-deal revenue. Number five, due diligence. Conduct thorough research to maybe uncover hidden risks. You might even uncover opportunities and or synergies so that you're ensuring a smart investment. I said there was six. Is there a sixth one? Scaling through acquisitions, meaning instead of building from scratch, acquire established businesses or properties to then accelerate that growth. That's also something that James and I talked about. And I told him maybe that can be a strategy to grow things with the Ugandan water project. So, what I went over here on this third option is to rethink how deals are financed. Maybe even shift the emphasis from your own financial resources to creativity, to strategy, and to collaboration. Let me see if there's something else. I think that's it. I want to, did you maybe have some questions or some points you wanted clarity on?
Actually, you mentioned something and it was interesting to me. So I just wanted to get a little bit more clarity. I know you
Yeah.
said that sometimes you have to have you have to remove the emotional connection to the business because it is a transaction. So you're not really necessarily looking for a business to get married to, let's say, that you're going to work yourself to death. And you're looking for something that's an investment opportunity that has a lot of potential that you can start, shaping. So is that correct? Like you want something that's going to be
Now, that's why I went over three different ways. That's on the buy, build, sell model.
Yes, right.
So, do you remember the example I gave of that friend of mine, Jeremy, that was in that phone systems business?
Yes. Hmm.
When he talked with that potential seller, he said to them, look, you've got all of these customers. Let me switch them over. I'll do the hard work. Okay, let me get to your question. I don't want to go off on tangent. His goal was to find, which he achieved that goal, 8 to 10, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was around that, other telecom companies.
Mm-hmm.
Now a big private equity group acquired them. And then when that acquisition took place, obviously did the ethical thing and gave to the seller now their part.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what we talked about with James today with the Ugandan water project is not a buy, build, sell. It's more of a merger of acquiring other, maybe we talked about water filter companies. We talked about maybe, we even talked about competitors. And I said, there are other competitors that do what you do, but maybe they're on a smaller scale. And you can acquire those or you do some form of a merger. So you're exactly right. If you want to create wealth doing this, then the business doesn't matter, right? You want to find a motivated seller, one that's willing to do seller financing. That's another thing that James said. So how many people do you have to go through?
Oh,
And I said, let's assume you talk to 10 business owners. And James even interrupted me and said, I'm sure if you say, if you thought of an exit strategy, most would say, well, yeah. And I said, you're right. So if you talk to 10, maybe I give them the example, worst case, maybe two will say, I'm open and I can talk right now. Well, then you'd say, let's look at the books. And out of that, maybe one would say, okay, I'm open to this. So I think that kind of answered that. Do you
yes.
have another question?
Well, actually, you went through so much. I mean, I'm still kind of back at the beginning. We were talking about, well, I love to hear your shifting mindset. It was number one. It was back in the beginning. So, if you could just clarify that, I didn't have a chance to really dive into that first one.
And I think one of the things that I said, let's not just think on spending money or all of this. And that's the mistake that sometimes people make is that that person will want more than or dollars or something like that,
Like
right?
we
Dan?
put our own views on what we think they're going to want or need.
Right.
Yeah.
And I gave that example of I gave both examples to James. One was the coffee cup, the one
Yes.
that only had
Yes.
15 coffee cups for
Uh,
30, they see 30, right? The other example I gave him was the company that was the phone systems company in London, and he wanted 20,000 for the business. And Jeremy was like, I mean, he doesn't have it. So that's the other thing is you say, can I do this if I have no money at all? What if I'm like flat out broke? It works to your advantage. What doesn't work to the advantage is when people have a little money on the side, and then if that person says, well, I won't accept anything less than 20 grand, and because you happen to have 30 or 40 in your account, you did that. No, no, don't do that. So when he said, I don't have 20, the guy says, okay, fine. Why don't you put 10? Well, Jeremy didn't have 10,000. So the guy's like, I got to have something because I've got to move and I've got all of these desks, I got all this equipment. And then if we move to the new office, I got to put first, last, and security. I don't care about that. I want your customers. He didn't have any money. So it does work to your advantage. Let's go to the next one. I don't want to keep going on that.
No, 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 no. I mean, those were the two that I had questions about. So honestly, I didn't have any other questions. I mean, well, I guess one last one, and that's how long does due diligence normally take? Or do you have a rule of thumb like you need to take at least a little time, or can you do these things and truly get your due diligence done in a session with somebody?
Some people, and I'm going to get into Fabiola says she gets her best advice by talking to people that have done acquisitions. She
Mm.
knows of that recent acquisition. She wants to talk to that person. She says, I don't want to go to a seminar. I don't want to read a book. I don't want to listen to some course on some. I want to talk to a person that just did an exit and she's going to take down notes and do
Mhm.
exactly as that. And your question was, is there
Oh, due
something
diligence. How long does it take
Oh,
typically
oh,
to
oh.
research due
So
diligence
some of
work?
these deals can be done that day.
Mm.
So if you
Okay.
walk into a business and you say, is the owner in? And again, that's her attitude. She goes in door to door. Remember, I said she'll go into a gym. Hey, I'm thinking about joining the gym. The owner says, oh, I'll walk you through. Well, the owner's there, and then she'll mention, have you thought of an exit strategy?
Uh,
If they say, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, how much are you willing to give me? Let's look at the books. If that
gotcha.
person says, great, okay, I'll follow you to your office. No, her goal is strike while the iron is hot, meaning close the deal that day.
Yeah.
Jeremy says that what he used to do is even if it was that day, and he goes, well, it's already now getting late. We've been looking at number, great, we're ordering pizza. We are not,
Like the car dealers do. They're like, let me get you dinner.
yeah. He's like, I'm not leaving. So you what you want is you want there to be problems when you see the due diligence. You want the numbers to be kind of because now you say, whoa, I said that I was willing to buy you and give you cash, but I mean, look at what we've got here. And let's remember, you're not being deceiving because if
Mhm.
the numbers really do look good, if it really is netting 250,000, if it really is, now I have lenders, I have financial institutions that would pay 4 times multiples on something like
Ah,
that.
gotcha.
So you're
Because you
not
have
being
resources.
deceiving.
Okay.
You're saying, have you thought of an exit strategy? Yes. Great. Now we got to look at the numbers. And then when he says, well, I kind of deduct everything but the kitchen sink. Oh, okay. I get that. But now I'm not going to give you upfront all of this money. I'm going to look for an email to kind of wrap up because again, I do not claim to know everything in this.
Mm.
And you learn by asking questions, and it should be constant learning because things shift, right? The way acquisitions happen. So Donna, who you know that is our analyst that works for me that also helps put together our business plans and pitch decks, she sent me a project because she knows about this new what you're going to help me build the website of the Fifth
Yes.
Avenue Underground Club, right? And she says,
Yeah.
I found this great property that's under, but look at this and it's selling. And I looked and I thought, so I pressed forward and sent it to Fabiola. I'm going to look for an email because she sent it to me, I think, on the day before Thanksgiving. And let me find this. Ah, here we go. And she said, Hi, Regan. Sorry for the late reply. I finally have a second. I'm at the airport right now and just waiting to board in 30 more minutes. She gave me 3 lines. Very simple. If you are interested in buying this, you should partner with someone who is an expert on this type of business. Then together, you two can do due diligence to find out why it's for sale and if it's worth buying for what the seller is selling it for. Last sentence. You guys also have to see if you can turn the business profitable. I hope this helped. You are welcome to ask me more questions. See, she learns through all of this. She doesn't mind.
Hmm.
Did you get what she is saying with an
Yes.
expert? So let's assume I'm going to pick something you'd probably know nothing about. Let's assume it was a transmission repair, some
Oh,
auto,
yeah. Yep.
right? So, but you know people you're networked with. You might say, I'm not networked with one person on LinkedIn that was a former mechanic. You might know somebody at your church. You might know someone. So you ask enough people. And again, Fabiola's like, that's great. If you don't know, ask people that may know somebody. And it's as simple as saying this to a friend. I'm looking at acquiring a repair shop or a landscaping company, something that you don't know about. Before I do you know somebody that used to be in that industry? And let's assume that friend of yours said, I know somebody that was a mechanic. Poor guy lost his job and he's looking for work. Awesome. I would talk to that person. This is what Fabiola meant, connect with him and say, look, I know you don't have a job yet, but you do have expertise. How long have you been? Oh, yeah, I was a mechanic for 20 years. Oh, my goodness. You probably saw things behind the scenes that others didn't. If somebody wants to sell and they're motivated, would you know why? Oh, yeah, I can give you a lot of advice. That's why Fabiola's like, partner with that person and said, okay, let's split this 50-50. You have expertise in industry, I don't. And if that person really wants out, now you're in that business because you have expertise. And when we go to sell, to exit, I'm grateful for all the advice. You got part of that. So that's what she meant by find someone that's an expert. So I think that's it. You're on mute, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Regan. This was a wonderful topic. And if you have any questions or want to find out more from Regan, you can visit the website, Fifth Avenue Capital, 5THAAVC.com. You can also hit the subscribe bell to get notifications when we go live on Fridays at noon. And we'll see you all next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.